Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames has a new deal. What does it mean for Blackhawks goaltender Spencer Knight? We'll get into it with Sean Shapiro next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Greg Boysen in for Mario Tirabassi today. And by the way, Greg's going to be with us every home game during the season. So fear not. The podcast got handsomer for the regular season, which is what we wanted. We don't have time for greetings and stuff. We got news to get to.
We've got Bears to talk about.
For the 50th straight hour.
Isn't that what I'm here for?
Yes, we're going to do
Ben Johnson, bad.
It's coming up. New deal for Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames. 7 years, $7.5 million AAV. And when I think goalies, and I think breaking down goalies, I think Sean Shapiro of DLLS, of the Shap Shots Substack. So Sean's joining us right now before he goes and picks up the kids at school. So we'll tell you all the important stuff when Sean's done. Sean, thanks for being with us, man. We appreciate it, especially on short notice.
I'm happy to do it, guys, and I hope the offense is running well in Chicago there on the football side, because we watched what happened in Detroit with after he left this weekend. So who knows?
We'll see.
It's the Bears. It's in their DNA.
They can't help it.
They're bad.
They're the,
weird and bad.
The football Maple Leafs, but that's a different show for a different day.
Not true. I've seen the Bears win a championship.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so Dustin Wolf of Calgary. 7 years, $7.5 million. And for those that are not super up on Dustin Wolf, it's understandable. 2 incredible years at the AHL level, played beyond his NHL readiness, came and had a really strong rookie year for the Flames. So he's rewarded with this deal. Spencer Knight, Blackhawks goaltender, is due a contract after this coming season. Elliot Friedman on the latest 32 Thoughts speculated that it might be something that the Hawks want to get done before this season begins. In your mind, Sean, where does Spencer Knight fall in as we're looking at young goalies around the league, and what's something that maybe we could look at contract-wise? And is Wolf a good comparison?
I am a little bit higher on Wolf in general. I think they're both in the, I think for me, I'm a big Dustin Wolf guy. I think he's someone who, he's already gotten over, I know he's only played 71 NHL games, but you kind of look at his game has grown. And that's one of the things where with Wolf, you say, okay, why does a 6-foot goalie make it? I mean, we all remember basically what happened with Andrew Raycroft in the NHL, right? Where he goes and has a rookie year where he wins the Calder for the Bruins, and then we never really hear much again from him. And that's something that can definitely happen to young goalies. And Wolf, for me, he's 6 foot, generously listed at 6 foot. And you look at kind of how his game has already had to evolve. From Everett in the WHL to Stockton/Calgary in the AHL to I'm a big fan of where Dustin Wolf is. So I think this is a really good play and bet by Calgary, especially with where the cap's going up and everything like that. And might it be expensive in year 1 of the deal, which wouldn't even be till next year because he's still playing on the ELC this season? Maybe, but year 2, 3 of this deal, $7.5 million with a raising cap. You're going to tell me that's a big deal when Philip Grubauer just made $6 million this past season, right? I think it's a nice piece of work by Calgary. When it comes to young goalies in the NHL, I have Wolf right about here. Spencer Knight is not in the same tier for me, but he is in the starter tier, and he is in that spot of a guy I think can grow into more of that franchise goalie. And I think we saw some of that growth after the trade into Chicago this year. Obviously there's a big difference going from playing behind that Florida defense to, I'm not telling you guys anything, playing behind the Chicago defense at the end of the season. So I think it's an interesting dynamic, because I was talking to a guy who looks at a lot of the numbers on this, and I was just talking to a goalie person, someone in the goalie coaching world about this. Dustin Wolf got Spencer Knight a raise and also capped his earnings a little bit at the same time, because Dustin Wolf signed this. What if Dustin Wolf goes out and has the same year this year, right? Like, what if he goes out and has the exact same year he did last year, similar numbers, and just continues to raise that value? Is Dustin Wolf at 6 months, 7 months from now, is he an $8 million, $8.5 million goalie? Dustin Wolf, I'm not going to take anything away from anyone getting themselves 8 years of security and $7.5 million per year, but Dustin Wolf may have given himself a little bit of a haircut and taken off some of the risk reward. And so with Spencer Knight, I look at that kind of his opportunity here. If Dustin Wolf's going to come in at 7.5, Spencer Knight is probably, depending on how well he plays this year and depending on how long the term is, he's probably going to come in that 6.5 to $7 million range. That's probably going to be the reasonable range he falls into. Depending, the length of the deal is probably going to pull it closer to 6.5 or closer to 7. But I think that's kind of the number. If you're a Hawks fan and you're trying to figure out, okay, how much is our goalie going to cost? How much is our starting goalie going to cost? And that's the big thing in this cap world, right? Because obviously you got another really good young player who that contract's going to define everything. But so for your goalie one, 6.5 to 7, if you can, I think this sets a pretty good market and expectation for that. And now it just comes down to more of term and length, more so than how high, low or high these dollar amounts go based off after the Wolf signing, I think.
So you're our all-city goalie guy. You have an eye for the goalies. I want you to play agent for a second here. You're Spencer Knight's agent.
Yeah.
There's no way you sign a deal before this season, right? You play out the year and hope he has a great year and bump up that salary.
Yeah, if I'm Spencer Knight's agent, I'm playing the game of, I'm using, in a perfect world from a financial standpoint for Spencer Knight's agent and Spencer Knight possibly from a financial bottom line is, you play out this entire year on the deal, the $4.5 million or whatever it is right now. You go then at the end of the year, then you just put your numbers side by side with Dustin Wolf's of, hey, we're 3 days in age apart. This is what I did. This is what he did. I should be, if I outplay him, I could be asking for. I mean, there's a big opportunity for Knight to do that. Now, it's going to be harder to put up some of for Spencer Knight to put up some of the numbers that Dustin Wolf put up, just because I think Calgary's a little bit farther along. There's going to be more help for defensively for Dustin Wolf for those numbers. So that in those raw save percentage numbers, typically save percentage and wins still drive most of the needle for GMs. Whether, as much as we want to look at the deeper stats and everything like that, that's the reality. And so if you're Spencer Knight, though, you bet on yourself and you're like, okay, I'm going to go outplay Dustin Wolf this year. If I go and outplay him, I have an opportunity to say, look, hey, he's making 7.5. We're the same exact age. That's the going rate for a goalie for my draft class for goalie of the future. I want 7.5. And I think that's a completely fair play that he should go for if I was the agent and if I'm him.
I wonder too, so the number you mentioned, like the 6.5 range, you're looking at Aiden Hill signed a 6-year, $6.25 million. Carl Vejmelka, 5 years, $4.75. The one that gets my attention is Lucas Dolstall with Anaheim, $6.5 million for 5 years. He's 25 years old, and Knight's got better numbers than him already. 121 games for Dolstall, 329 goals against, 902 save percentage, versus for Knight, 95 games, 283 goals against, 904. And as you mentioned, Sean, it is tough when we look at save percentage and goals against when you're on the Blackhawks because the defense has been so porous. I look at goals saved above average and per 60, and he is right there with like Jake Ottinger and some of the better goalies in the league, and right there with Dustin Wolf, by the way, in that stat. So I think maybe Kyle Davidson being an analytics guy could end up costing him some money, because Knight's agent can go, hey, we know you don't look at just these two numbers. Look at these numbers, and this is where we feel like where Spencer Knight should be.
Yeah, and for me with Spencer Knight, the number that I kind of come to a lot of is like, and I like goals saved. I think goals saved above average is a good number for over the course of a season. I think there's a lot of goalie analytics that are good that explain why something happens. But the one I go back to a lot of and it's a kind of basic and rudimentary, but I'm a big fan of the quality start number, because I think at the end of the day, what is the biggest question we always talk about a goalie as he's growing up? Can they be consistent? Can they do it on a beast? So goals saved above average, you could go on a heater for 2 weeks, and then that's great. But if you struggle 2 months later, so I look at things like, for example, like I got Knight's numbers up from last season, right? Like he's got in his 23 starts with Florida last year, he had 13 quality starts, about 62% of them, which is a NHL starting goalie number. With Chicago, a team where it was much harder to do that. Obviously, a team that had just not only he was part of the trade that took away one of the defensive pillars. So he comes in and it becomes even bigger. And he has his 15 starts. He has 8 quality starts. He has and a quality start for the quick. Basically, a quality start is a game with a save percentage above league average. So it moves along per year to year. So in a year where the NHL league average save percentage has been dropping, what it takes to get a quality start moves along with that. So are you being an above average goalie? And Spencer Knight has consistently, first with a good team in Florida and now with a rebuilding team in Chicago, has consistently done that. And so I look at those numbers, and you can look at all of the goals saved above and everything like that. And if I'm Spencer Knight's camp, I also look at that. I'm like, look, at the end of the day, the goal is to win as many games as possible. And if I'm delivering this, and I am delivering, limiting the damage and limiting the other one that you can loop in there is a stat called really bad starts, and he only had 7 of those total in 30 games last year, or 38 games last year. Those are where I look at and say, okay, the goal here is to win. And he has done that. He has done that in his career. Really, the only knock on Spencer Knight in his career, and I actually applaud him for it, is he was very open in public about dealing with the OCD stuff. It was the thing, like all the things he was very open and forward with. That's the only quote unquote knock on his career, is that people wonder, oh, can he handle this? And he has been very forward about that. He has proven with his play he's proven with his play last season after being basically sentenced to the AHL for a year that he can handle and work through everything. And he's a guy who, if you're making a long-term bet on a goalie, I would not be opposed to that at all. I like Wolf a little bit more, but that's in the margins here. That's not all of a sudden, hey, I wouldn't bet on Spencer Knight as a starting goalie that you build around long term.
On that kind of note, real quick, the Central Division has some top elite goaltending in it. You know, Connor Hellebuck until April is really good. Jake Ottinger in Dallas. Jordan Binnington's a good goaltender again for this week or so. We'll see how long that lasts. Saros in Nashville has a reputation. He's one of the better. How does Spencer Knight eventually get into that stratosphere of goalie? Do you think he's that guy where they're like, Spencer Knight's coming to town, we really got to do something special tonight?
Yeah, I mean, there is that next level that he has to take for that. Just to be honest, right now, like when Adin Hill comes to town, do you get scared? No, not at all. But Adin Hill was able to win a Stanley Cup, and you think about him as a consistent goalie that can be a number one guy and can be back there as you win games. I think Spencer Knight right now, the question goaltending wise is, I think he's in that conversation of, we're going to go in every night and we're not going to lose the goaltending battle. I think you have that right now. For him, the question is, how do you take the next step in your game where you're going to be winning those battles on those nights? And we saw it, like you look across the Central, Jake Ottinger, that was one of the things Jake Ottinger had to do, even though Jake Ottinger, you mentioned the Connor Hellebuck spring faltering. Jake Ottinger has been really bad in the Western Conference Final 3 years in a row, right? So like it's not just a Connor Hellebuck issue in this division. It's also Jordan Binnington seems to be the one opposite guy where he seems to save everything for late April. I think with Spencer Knight, if you can take the next step, if you can go out and win those battles, right now he's not going to lose those battles. And I think that's where he needs to be at this point in his career. I think there's some of that consistency, and he already has the base level consistency. Is he going to steal an occasional game here and there? Is he going to be the guy where he's never really had this opportunity. In Florida, he was highly insulated, right? Like, so it was there. So, and what we saw in Chicago was learning, playing behind a new system, everything like that. So this season, to me, he's one of the most fascinating goalies to watch, because we're going to see what's it going to be like on November 10th when he faces 36 shots and the other goalie only faces 12. Can you go win that game for me? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I think he has part of it in him. It's one of those that has to be kind of proven. And for right now, I think there's a really high base level. It's just how high can you take that? How high can the elevation go on that?
All right, Sean, we know you got to run. Go get the littles. Go get the future goalies at school. We appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much.
Always fun, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, that is Sean Shapiro, our colleague at DLLS. Shap Shots, Substack. He's all over the place. Elite prospects. You can't miss him. Follow him on Twitter at Sean Shapiro.
For the record, picking the kids up from school different from dropping them off at the pool?
Yes, yeah, okay. Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes, you'll learn someday. Yes, it is a little bit different. All right, we're going to hit the break zone for the first time. Stick around. We've got a lot to tell you about on the other side of this break. We had to get right to Sean, make sure we got everything we needed from him. We're going to continue the Spencer Knight talk, but some stuff you should know coming up in 120 seconds and change as Sean readies the break zone. Here we go. Break zone time. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Football is back, and we're all bummed out, as is tradition in Chicago. But you got to use our friends at Circa Sports. It's the best place to bet. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois, they've got high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. If you need help, you will get it from Circa Sports Illinois. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-games, everything you need. Circa Sports has it. You can fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Chicago.
Did you say futures?
I did say futures.
The NHL season's coming up. Does that mean I could bet NHL futures at Circa?
It does mean that.
That's
because you
amazing.
can bet futures at Circa Sports Illinois. Sean Anderson. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And winter is coming. No one's ever said that before, Sean. I just trademarked that. Is your home's heating up for the challenge? You have a plumbing emergency? Call Four Seasons. An electrical emergency? Call Four Seasons. You need a new hot water tank installed today? Call Four Seasons. Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. At Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs with no extra charge for nights, weekends, or holidays, because that's when things go wrong. Save up to $4,000 on furnace and comfort systems with Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. And speaking of our friends at Four Seasons, Taking the Temp is presented by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Taking the Temp, Greg of the chat. People seem pretty comfortable with the price range that Sean presented for Spencer Knight. That somewhere between, $5.5, $6.5 million bucks. I will take that bet on Spencer Knight. And for me, if that's the number, the longer the term, the better. I'm sold on Spencer Knight.
Yeah, I mean, I think Blackhawk fans have been excited about him ever since the trade was made. I mean, listen, when you trade a promising young player, especially at such an important position like goaltender, for a guy that half the fan base couldn't wait to get out of town, they're going to love him. Because
probably more than half, but yes.
I mean, a lot of people love Spencer Knight because he's not Seth Jones.
Correct.
He definitely is earmarked as your goaltender of the future. And those guys usually get paid. So, I don't, Kyle Davidson has not shown me anything in negotiating with his, extending his own players that he can't handle it and get a good deal. He's had a pretty good track record so far. Now it's getting guys from other teams here that he needs to work on, but that will get easier as the team gets better. So, yeah, you give Spencer Knight anywhere between 5.5 to 6.5 million per after this year. I'm fine with that.
I'm very comfortable.
And if he
with
puts
that.
up Dustin Wolf numbers and you got to pay him 7.2,
Great.
whatever, fine.
Yeah,
Sign him. I don't
if
care.
he's Dustin Wolf, good. Happy
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
That would be a great outcome for the Hawks to have. All right, business time. All right. Thank you to Four Seasons for taking the temp. FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. Go do it. Windy City Hockey. You see, if you're watching on the chat, he's got that little, I don't know, we call that a sun or like a little medallion.
Gold
Sean?
star.
Gold star.
Yeah, I would say medallion.
Okay,
And that
medallion.
signifies what, Jay?
Pork medallions. Oh, sorry. That means that you can join new starting yesterday during the Bears game, because all things revolve around the Bears at all times. YouTube memberships. So $5 gets you the MVP tier. $15 gets you the Hall of Fame tier. The MVP tier gives YouTube members access to emojis, members only posts, polls, and priority comments. The Hall of Fame tier gives all of the above and access to members only videos and shout outs. So check it out. If you're on a non-mobile device, you'll see the option to join in the chat. So there is a link also that Sean put in the chat today. You can follow that link directly to sign up.
There's a pinned comment. If you click that link for mobile users, that will take you to sign up. But I think you could just click join right now. If you're on desktop, it just says join instead of subscribing. So
there you go.
And Jason and Michelle also became a member. So Jason and Michelle, Windy City Hockey, are our first Hawks
2
members.
for 1. Look at that.
I for
Three
one.
for, yeah, I mean, guess three, right?
3 for 2.
Yes.
For two.
I for one am shocked that Windy City Hockey would be the first one to buy in on something we're doing.
It's about time he committed to something around there.
Our most loyal listener by not a wide margin, but a significant margin. Okay.
I mean, hey, the guy drives up from the St. Louis area on weeknights in
Yeah.
the winter to watch bad hockey, so he's dedicated.
Yes. Also, this month at ALLCITY, we're partnering with we're always partnered with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, but this week we're doing a drive for you to become a big brother or big sister. Last week we asked for your donations. You gave them to us. Thank you very much. If you'd like to become a big brother or big sister, go to bbbs.org. Right on the top of the page there, you'll see a tab that says Get Involved. Click that Get Involved tab. It's very easy. They've been doing this for over 120 years. We are so proud to be partnered with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You should too. Become a big right now, bbbs.org. Click that Get Involved button, and you're good to go. Also,
Wouldn't you like to be a big brother to someone like me? I always think about that episode.
there you go. So do that. Take care of that. Our takeovers are now open for non-diehards, but you better hurry. We have 3 tickets left to the Sweet Night for Jonathan Taves' return. So that's January 19th versus Winnipeg. And we have more than that, 15 available. So that's, if you really want to get a chance, the last game of the year against San Jose. There's 15 tickets left. That includes a live postgame show in our CHGO studios, and they are 100 level seats.
And all the vibes in the world from the San Jose Sharks.
That's right. They're going to spray their vibes all over your
You're
chest.
just going to be smiling the whole way because Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith are good buddies.
Lee the vibes. And Ryan Reeves is just going to add to that this year.
Wink zone.
And Philip Kurashev. We should have sold it as the Philip Kurashev return game.
Yeah.
How did we miss that one?
Jonathan Taves return game, tired.
Screw
Philip
that.
Kurashev return game, wired. No.
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm just yelling at the
At
universe.
everybody.
right
Shout
now.
out to Tim, who also became a member.
Thank you, Tim. We love you.
Chef Tim.
Yeah, bring us some food. All right. So now that all the business is out of the way,
Good night, everybody.
hit the like button for us. We didn't ask you to do that. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you're listening on the podcast, we love you. You're an OG like me. Make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite app. And new news for Greg. Just took over blackhawkup.com.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah.
How can people follow? How can people help? How can people get involved?
Just, when you see, you can follow Blackhawk Up on X. And anytime you see me post a link, please click on it. That helps everything. Clicks are the lifeblood over there. But got a nice little team over there. Todd's been there forever. Jim Lynch, who actually did Chicago's hockey now for a little while, is one of my writers over there. So looking forward to it. Get to do what I do. The outlet may change, but the coverage will stay the same, and I get to do post-game shows with you for the home games as well. And going to be starting another podcast for the OG Blackhawk folks.
The real OG.
Yes. Me and my pal Frank Nova, he's hanging out in here today, I think. Fork from Hockey Night fame. If you're part of those Wild West days of the early 2010s with the Blackhawks blogosphere, before podcasts were even a thing, you had to actually write down your thoughts. He was a big part of that. So Frank and I are going to start a Blackhawks once a week podcast called The Second Balcony.
Like it.
A reference, of course, to the old Chicago Stadium, and gives off that Statler and Waldorf vibes too, because I envision Frank and I will kind of be a little like that as well. So
I'm in.
We are hoping to get our first episode recorded Sunday after the Curvers Showcase wraps up. So
awesome.
Be on the lookout for that. That
and
should
can't
be a lot
wait.
of fun.
And speaking of Curvers, tomorrow we have hockey at Fifth Third Arena. The rookies will be there preparing for this weekend's tournament. We will have video after practice to show on the show. So hockey is here in less than 24 hours. It's going to be awesome. Some final thoughts on Spencer Knight. Like I said earlier, I am sold on him. Maybe I'm hoping. Maybe it's the Bears fan in me where I'm going to hope for the best and be disappointed. But the advantage of being able to be in the locker room and be around these guys, like Spencer Knight he's got a presence about him. We talk about the vibes of the Sharks. Spencer Knight has a command about him, which is usually goalies are kind of to themselves. They kind of hide in their little corners. They kind of do things at their own pace. And Spencer Knight has that about him a little bit. But, man, when he talks, he always has something to say. I think he carries a lot of weight in that locker room already. So I'm ready to commit to him.
Yeah, he's a very insightful guy. Like, goaltenders are strange.
Yes.
Most of them.
Yes.
And not that Spencer doesn't have his strangeness about him.
And he'll tell you about it, yeah.
But yeah, he's very insightful. Like it's so refreshing to be in a professional hockey locker room and have a guy that like has real thoughts, not just, gotta get pucks in deep,
right?
Blah, 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 cliche, rumble. He actually has real thoughts and he's very, insightful and introspective. And I think that's going to rub off on that group too. And he knows a lot of those guys. Him and Alex Vlasic have been buddies for a long time from playing for the development program together and stuff like that. And, I think he, coming from, the Panthers and getting that kind of insight, that there's a lot to go with that. Like he was around the best team in hockey.
Yep.
For quite a while. He saw how that team just goes about his business. He can bring some of that in. Jeff Blashill was part of that in Tampa. Is he going to be the next Jake Ottinger? I don't know. If I could predict these things accurately, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be, in a GM's office somewhere.
Someday.
It's a great addition. It's definitely something to build on. And you still have Drew Comezzo, who was amazing the second half of last year. And you still have Arvid Soderblom.
And you still have Laurent Brossoit.
Sure. If he's a real person, he's still there. The goaltending situation when Kyle Davidson took over was a glaring weak spot of this team.
Yeah.
And now they have a position of strength right now.
100%.
You still have Guyan coming up and developing. You drafted another goalie this year.
Brezhnoy. We'll see him this weekend.
Yes. So, the goaltending seems to be trending in the right direction. Usually that's the final piece of the puzzle when you're building a hockey team. Like, you want to get, everything else in place, and then you go get that goaltender. But to have that kind of secured already, that's a good thing.
Patrick says, didn't we say that's how Peter Mrazek was personality wise? I don't think I said that about Peter Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek
he's a very traditional goalie.
Yeah, he would tell you Peter Mrazek wasn't as outgoing as Spencer Knight, but when Peter Mrazek had something to say, he told you. He was
say
honest.
He wouldn't hold back.
No, he was not he did not sugarcoat things.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're personalities are comparable. I'm saying, like, I don't know. I think they're different kind of dudes. So I guess what the comparison would be, he speaks to the media and speaks his mind. Those things are true. But I just think the way that Spencer Knight does it is, and it's not a knock on Mrazek, it's just differentiating between the two. Like, you'll ask Spencer Knight a question and he'll give you a tick or two as he sort of processes the question, and he wants to give you like a real, like a genuine answer. You know who else is like that? Frank Nazar. Yeah. We had Nazar on last week. We'd ask him a question. There'd be a few seconds and the radio guy and me, he's like, "What's wrong?
Yeah,
what happened?" No, he's thinking about what he's going to say.
He did that a few times on his Zoom call after he signed the contract, where at first you're like, I think that's a sign of Frank growing up in the social media world, where he knows if I say something stupid, it's going to take 3 seconds for this to go all over the world, and I'm never going to live it down. So I'm going to take a second and make sure I don't say something stupid.
Is that what I've heard this term? Is it the Gen Z stare? Is this something that you've heard
of? No idea.
Or the Gen Z glare or something? Like, I've heard people talk about this. When you talk to somebody in Gen Z, they'll just kind of, they're not really great at interacting because everything they do is
makes sense.
Mobile, like talking to a server.
Gen Z stare does have a Wikipedia entry.
Okay, see?
But we can read it during the break.
It's okay. We don't have to. Let's take the break zone and let's get back to some hockey conversation. We got your mailbag questions. And I want to say, not that we're going to talk Bears, but last night's Bears game reminded me of something very recent in my mind. I'm going to share
other
it next.
Bears game ever played?
Aside from that, that's coming up next. Let's be real for a second. The offensive line isn't the only... Sorry. Let's be real for a second. The offensive line isn't the only thing soft these days. The world's gone soft. The world of sodas has gone soft. If I see one more grapefruit, acai, dragon fruit, sparkling water with essence of rose hips, I'm going to lose my mind. I just want a regular cola, a cola with kick. Guess what? RC Cola is everything I'm looking for. It's everything you're looking for. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. RC is an OG in a world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow-ups, no fluff. It's just amazing cola. RC hasn't changed its stripes since 1905 because it didn't need to. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. Do yourself a favor. Grab some RC at your local store. Stock up for all your end-of-summer parties, back-to-school celebrations, or just watching a game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing. Overpaying for property taxes is something far too many Cook County residents are doing, and you don't have to be one of them. Sign up in under 3 minutes with our friends at OwnWell. Their team of local experts and cutting-edge tech can start saving you money with no upfront costs. I live in Cook County. I used to pay big property taxes, signed up with OwnWell. Like they said, 3 minutes, boom, saved about $1,000 on my property taxes. Does that sound good to you? An extra $1,000? Yeah, I bet it does. That's what you need to do. 86% of OwnWell's customers receive a reduction. OwnWell handles everything from start to finish and delivers top results with an average savings of $1,102. Where's my $102? No upfront costs, savings, or free guarantee. Only pay if you save. Save money on your Cook County property taxes with OwnWell. Sign up and start your appeal today at ownwell.com/cook. That's OWNWELL.com/cook. All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Only 56 likes. That's not good enough. We've already talked to Sean Shapiro. We've got hockey starting tomorrow. Let's hit that like button. Every time you hit the like button, the Bears make a field goal. Here's what this reminded me of yesterday. New era, new names, disappointing start to the season. Blackhawks at Utah last year. That game was such a wet fart of a game. And I think it's just the buildup of the first game of the year.
It set the tone for the rest of the year.
It totally did. Like
a whole season of wet farts.
And we spent our time in Utah. And I know it's a home game versus a road game, Bears, Hawks, whatever. But, like, there's all this intensity around the new Utah team. And then the Hawks bring in Bertuzzi and Teravainen and Maroon and Martinez. And it's like, all right, they got some help for Bedard. And they just suck for 40 minutes. They made a game of it so it's actually the opposite of the Bears game. They made a game of it in the last 20. But holy cow, man. Like, the disappointing feeling of both those things were very similar to me.
To a degree, yes. Though I think the hype for this Bears game was far more than the Blackhawks.
Oh,
just because it's the
yeah,
Bears.
of course.
But it's Ben Johnson, the
Yeah, the
greatest
big
coach,
coach, yeah.
who ever lived, who puts on a Bears hat and all of a sudden becomes a bumbling
Starts
idiot like
drooling.
the rest of them. Challenging plays you shouldn't challenge and whatnot. But anyway, we got 13
By the way,
hours of content on another channel.
I don't know if you're allowed to challenge that. If that rule, that should be a rule though. If you punch the ball out first,
if you touch the ball first,
then it should be a loose
it should
ball.
be. I would think. I mean, Peanut Tillman's career would not have been nearly as good.
Yeah, but the whole thing about Peanut was he was punching guys who were standing up.
But he was,
like,
but he hadn't been touched yet.
I feel like it's akin to the rule in baseball where if it hits the knob of the bat, even though it hits your hand, it's a foul ball. Like it's an extension of a runner thing. Like I don't know. I think Ben was just out of his kind of mind to challenge that at all.
All right, fair enough. Anyway,
new season, same problem, same bad Bears.
Well, let's hope the opener in Florida. Let's hope the home opener is better for the Hawks.
Montreal.
Yes, that could be a little bit better.
By December 1st, maybe they'll have something going for them.
Chances are that the Panthers are hungover. Like it's a non-zero chance that
year.
all of them are hungover.
That's why I picked them to lose to the Lightning in the first round this year. They're out of gas.
You weren't the only person to do that.
They didn't have. Well, I guess they did. Whatever. All right.
Hey, they got that banner raising ceremony and it tired them out, and
It's exhausting. Oh, my neck hurts.
and then Matthew Tkachuk's not going to be there. He's going to be out for a while, so you never know. They might only lose. It's the Spencer Knight revenge game.
They might win. I'm taking the Hawks are going to win.
There you go.
55-2. Like I made that prediction about the Bears game. And some guys were like, you're as dumb at football as you are at hockey. I'm like, well, thank you.
True.
But,
Yes.
that was definitely my 55-2 prediction last night was totally sincere and genuine.
I bet it.
Sorry. I'll buy you lunch. All right, let's get to the mailbag, damn it.
Okay.
Howie says, do you think they'll win one of the games I'm going to?
They're going to win every
All
game
of them.
they go to.
They're going to hang a Howie banner.
They're going to be so impressive of wins that Danny Wirtz is going to be like, you can't go back.
You can't leave.
We're moving you to Chicago.
We're having you
permanently."
reverse deported.
Yes.
We're having you imported.
Yes.
I'm down with that.
First mailbag questions thrown out there.
It's Rooney. He says, one early prediction about the Blackhawks and one prediction about one other team of your choice.
I guess early prediction is that the Black Sox. Oh, here we go.
Black Sox.
The Blackhawks will win a game when Holly's there.
I like that.
That's that. Book it.
All right, what do you got, Greg?
I don't know. Jay just predicted they're beating the Panthers in game 1. Early season prediction. I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's going to be a little clunky to start.
That makes sense.
Let's not, like, if they lose to Florida, 6-1 and it doesn't look great and the first couple games don't look great, let's not start Blashill sucks, let's fire him.
Oh, that'll start right away. People are ready to hate him immediately.
It's going to take a few games to get everybody kind of on the same page. So it's going to be a little clunky to begin with, but so my prediction is gross overreactions, one way or the other. If they start off 0-3, everybody will say it's the worst thing ever. If they go 3-0, Stanley Cup final, here we go. So I'm predicting major overreactions.
All right, I have a short-term and a long-term Hawks one. Short-term, Howie earmuffs. I think Oliver Moore makes the team and Lucas Reichel's traded.
Okay.
Long-term, I think the thing that is going to annoy Hawks fans about Jeff Blashill is he will stick with lines too long.
Which I thought everybody wanted.
Right. But now that they have it, they're not going to want it. Because he said to us when he was here, he said, one thing I learned from my time in Detroit is I can't just panic every time something bad happens and change the lines all the time. I've got to be more patient and let things happen. So I predict the big complaint about Blashill will be, they've lost 3 in a row. Why has he not changed the lines? That's going to be the next
From the
big
same
thing.
people that screamed about Sorensen changing the line every 2 seconds.
Exactly.
And I was one of those guys.
All right, my league-wide prediction, and this is wishy-washy, but not really. There's 2 scenarios for Montreal. Awesome or ass.
I hope it's ass.
I kind of like when the Habs are good. But then the whole Demidov thing seeps in, and it's...
Yeah, and you know what? Lane Hutson's dad makes me want the Canadians to never win another game.
Head fake. Yeah, he is kind of a peen.
Oh, he'll play for Team Canada. So he's not making Team Canada,
not,
you
dude.
jackass.
No.
Jesus.
Don't worry. He'll be fine.
If he's not good enough to make Team USA's defensive core, he's definitely not making Team Canada.
Yes,
anyway,
I agree.
Yeah,
but I'll just speak for myself. I was wrong about Layden Hudson. He was awesome last year. As a tiny little guy, and I hope it starts to change the narrative around small hockey players. It won't, but maybe it will. But I think Montreal could be really, really good, or just go back to like where they were the last like 3-4 years, not including last year.
Yeah,
good question. I like.
Yeah, I don't know about my league one. That's kind of a tough. I haven't put a lot of stock into what everybody else is doing so far this offseason. All right, here's one. Kind of a bold prediction.
Okay.
I think the Colorado Avalanche won't lock up a playoff spot to the last week of the season.
Ooh, I like that.
I think they're going to be a little, I don't know what exactly they're doing out there. I think they're going to have a lot of weird things going on this season. The Martin Necas stuff is creeping into the season.
They better figure that out, man. Like, what are they?
I not 100% sold on their goaltending still. What does Landeskog have for a full season after all that time off? I'm not saying they're missing the playoffs and going to be bad, but they're not going to be that 110-point team that gets out to an early lead and runs away high. I think they're going to earn it this year.
Okay, I like that one. Good question, Rooney. Thank you, as always, for your wonderful question. All right, what do we got next, Sean?
We have from Scott.
All right. Scott says, when there is a press conference, press scrum, or GM coach meets the media, is there a hierarchy to the order of questions, or are they asked in random? Sometimes does one reporter just dominate the questions, or is there an understanding that, okay, today most questions will be from blank? Do you usually have a question in mind going in, and what do you do when someone asks it before you? So there is a hierarchy.
Yes.
Tracy Myers almost always goes first because she's been on the beat the longest. Yeah. And if you notice, Tracy will always kind of ask for like the injuries, lines. Like she'll kind of ask a general question, so to speak. And then she'll usually get a follow-up of her own on something more specific. Aside from that, I think Laz does get a little bit, but it's not.
It's tends to go like the long time beats.
Yeah.
Kind of get their stuff in first. And a lot of times, when it's like Laz or Powers, they're working on something very specific. So it's not like
the writers in general.
They're working on a story on a very specific player or, aspect of a certain game. So you kind of let them get all that out. And then after that, it's, whoever can get their question out, there's a lot of times where I go into a press conference with 2 or 3 questions in mind, and then they get asked the first 2 or 3 questions, like, okay, I'm good. And, it kind of stinks sometimes I don't get to ask a question. But on the other hand, I'm like, okay, well, I'm thinking the same thing everybody else is thinking. So those must have been good questions.
One thing that's maybe interesting that I learned being on a beat for the first time, too, is like when or if you sense that someone's working on a story, like they'll ask a very specific question about Wyatt Kaiser on the power play, whatever it might be. And it's interesting. We might want to use it on the show. We have learned that if that's the case, you got to ask, hey, is it cool if I play this clip during the show, or are you saving it for your story? Because if they're doing like a long form, I've talked to 10 different people. You don't want to take the legs out from under the story.
That's a jerk move. Yeah. So usually we clear it ahead of time, or they say, hey, the story's coming out tomorrow. Can you wait till then? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So that is something that I had to learn myself on the beat that I hadn't known before.
Got yelled at by big old mean Ben Pope.
Was it? Yeah, is it Pope? I think it might have been Pope. Yeah.
Is he big?
He's very tall.
Really?
He's like 6'5", 6'4".
Put him in net.
Put him on D. Him and Louis Crevier.
Sure.
D pair. Good question. I like that one. What else we got, Sean?
I'm responding to somebody in the chat. G-Bubs is up, and he says this.
What Hawks prospect, if any, would you choose to go to the AHL rather than back to the CHL under the new rule allowing one 19-year-old to play in the AHL?
Cheap plug time. I actually wrote about that for Blackhawk Cup the other day.
Coincidence.
there's really only a couple of candidates for that. Hawks don't have a lot of CHL guys that are 19.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of guys that they drafted this past year, but they're 18, so they don't qualify. So there's really 3 guys that they could choose from. And one of them I'm ruling out right away, Jack Pridham.
Yeah.
He needs to go back to the OHL. That was a guy that was going to go to college and decided to stay. So let him go do his thing. The only 2 that you really could use that for is AJ Spellacy and Marek Vanacker. I don't know if I want to use that for either one. I know Spellacy fans fell in love with him at training camp last year, deservedly so. He offers you something that no other prospect does right now. Maybe you put him in Rockford. If he has another great camp and looks good in preseason, maybe you say, all right, send him to Rockford. But he's a guy that, had an up and down season last year, dealt with some injuries towards the end of the year. And Vanacker is, I think he'd be good in the AHL, but he's another guy. Like, let him go to Bradford and be the guy. Like,
I agree. I'm just taking both.
I mean, even if they're like have great preseasons, I know the Blackhawks like to have control of the development.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that with Levshunov, having him, come to Rockford last year. But you also see what they're doing. Hey, Anton Frondell, go to Sweden. It's fine. I think it's more important for both of those guys, Spellacy and Vanacker, to be the big dog on their OHL team.
Yeah.
Play top line minutes. Play number 1 power play. Get that. That to me would be better for them than playing 3rd, 4th line minutes for the Ice Hawks.
I agree. I don't think there's any need, even because Spellacy had a great preseason last year and almost bought himself a few games. But
he made it to the last round of cuts last year.
No. They're not gonna. There's so many forwards that could play at the NHL level this year when you go more green. Like on and on and on.
Yeah, and those guys,
we haven't even mentioned like Samuel Savoie.
And those guys
or
need
Colton
playing
Dach.
time in Rockford.
Yes. So I'm not adding any more to that muck than I have to.
The thing is, this rule, you can get loaned to the AHL at any point during the season. So if one of those guys is dominating, point a half a game, just absolutely crushing it.
Not learning anything, just
then
dominating.
You can be like, okay, it's January. Come play the rest of the season in Rockford. You could do it then. It doesn't have to be start of the year only, and it can't happen.
Right. Yeah, I think, that's kind of the Korchinski argument, where you can still look back on like, was it the right thing to have him play in the NHL?
If that rule was in effect there, I think
he would have been in Rockford for sure.
But
I mean, what's more beneficial to a player? Is it 125 points in 60 games and just ragdolling people, or is it learning, hard lessons at the NHL level? It depends on the player. And I think that's what Jeff Blashill and Kyle Davidson and everybody's going to have to kind of figure out as they go through this list. Like, hey, if we put this guy up here and he struggles, and I'm just talking long-term, generally every prospect we're talking about, you got to know it. You got to know the personality of the player. And I think it remains to be seen what that first year in the NHL did to Kevin Korchinski, positive or negative. I think there's a good chance he makes the team this year. I think a lot of people have already written him off kind of foolishly because he just wasn't a stud at 19 right away, but had a good AHL season, AHL All-Star Game MVP. These are the things you want to see from your young prospects, and Korchinski delivered. When he came up in Chicago, looked okay. I think maybe what is people are, I don't want to say not sold on Korchinski. I guess that's probably the best way to say it is there hasn't been that moment yet of, oh boy, there it is. There's the number 7 pick.
Are we not forgetting his overtime goal against the Maple Leafs?
The one that
already
bounced off the back wall right in front and he just tapped it in?
Yeah. I couldn't do that.
Well, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Here's the thing about Korchinski.
You score one NHL goal in your career, and you're going to have somebody say, oh, well, you did this. No, you scored a goal.
He did. He scored a goal.
Yeah.
It was an overtime winner.
Here's the one thing about Korchinski I'll say. I think having Levshunov and Rinzel helps him. Takes a ton of pressure off of him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be
spotlights off him.
The guy.
It also does that for Bedard, truly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the attention is going to be on those 2 defensemen who you mentioned, and also maybe Oliver Moore and maybe who else it might be. Like year 3 of Bedard, I don't think there's going to be such scrutiny around his
Frank
game.
Nazar got that big contract. Granted, that doesn't kick in the next season, but people are going to be watching that going, was he worth it?
100%. All right, let's get a couple more in here before you. How many you got left?
1,
All right. Glen Ellen Sock says, if it
Glen
worked
Ellen
with realignment somehow, would it be better if the Hawks were in Eastern Conference, more original 6 games and fewer games late at night?
Yes. Next
Yes.
question.
We talked about this
absolutely.
yesterday. There was a longer version of that question yesterday. Like, if you'd realign, should there be an original 6 like heritage conference? There'd have to be expansion to make that happen. But yeah, the Hawks are the only original 6 team in the West, and the only people around hockey that care about the original 6 are fans of the original 6.
Right.
That's it. No one else cares. Is it cool? Like, if you're in Utah, are the Canadians and Hawks and Bruins more appealing than the Hurricanes coming into town? Probably.
Yeah, maybe. But if you're in Utah, you care more about beating the Colorado Avalanche and the
Yeah.
Vegas Golden Knights and those
Right.
teams out in your region. You don't give a rat's ass about the Detroit Red Wings.
And the version 2 of the Phoenix Coyotes coming soon to an NHL near you.
I don't care.
I think that's just
for the
it's such
fact
a
that,
no-brainer.
that
And
half of the Hawks games would then start at 6 o'clock local time, I am
Yeah.
for it.
And by the way, if you're worried about West and East, go back to Campbell's and Whale. Campbell and Wales. I backed it up. Campbell and Wales.
I could go for a big bowl of whale Campbell
conferences.
soup right
They don't have to worry. You have AFC, NFC. That works out. National League, American League. It works out for them.
Chicago is east of the Mississippi River.
It
They're
is.
the Eastern Conference.
That's right. I'm with you. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. I'd love it.
9:30 puck drop against.
Put the original 6 teams in the same division.
That's it.
I always thought it would be.
It's too obvious.
That's why they'll never do it.
Right.
Here's something I always thought would be fun because you see it like in other sports, and then an NBA does their in-season tournament, but do something sort of like that in the NHL. Not necessarily, but like have like a point system for those original 6 games, and then the team that does the best in all the original 6 games gets a trophy at the end of the year or something like that.
Original 6 cup.
Everyone gets a trophy these days.
But you can't
RC
can't
Cola.
do it because the Hawks only play every original 6 team twice when they all play each other 3 or 4 times because they're in the same division.
Coming soon to Blackhawk Up. Greg's idea for original 6 points and trophies.
That's next August.
Put it in your
There's
notes.
actual hockey to talk about starting tomorrow. Thank God.
Put it in your phone notes so you don't forget. All right. What else we got? Damage Lightning says, not Hawks related. Did you guys hear about the post-skate interview McDavid had with the media on Friday? A reporter asked him about a short-term contract, and he responded with, quote, everything's on the table, short-term, long-term, no term. A good use of a semicolon there, by the way, Damage Lightning. Appreciate that. Look, I think Connor McDavid is ending up in Edmonton long-term. I don't think there's any worry about it, but he can't just be like, we're going to make it work here. He's the most valuable player in hockey, the best player of his generation. When it's all said and done, might be the best to ever play the game. It's in the conversation. He's got to be compensated appropriately. And I know the salary cap complicates things. The only twist here, though, is Stan Bowman. But Stan Bowman has never been a guy to underpay or under promise or under no trade clause his players. They always get market value or more.
And historically, Edmonton has never gotten rid of the greatest player of his generation.
It's never happened.
Never happened.
I can't think of a single
No,
instance.
they always
Not one. No, 0 ransoms are thought of.
Right.
No, those were definitely interesting comments. I think there's a little bit of a frustration with him before. I mean, I even Stan Bowman can't screw this one up. For McDavid.
Well, yes.
For McDavid.
I mean, yeah, he might screw up the rest
He's going
of
to
it.
screw up the team beyond belief.
Right.
But as far as McDavid's concerned, he's going to get taken care of.
Yes, he
but,
will be.
But that's part of the problem.
He's going to come out looking like Ric Flair with like a big fur coat.
But see, McDavid comes off to me as the guy that will do the Sidney Crosby. Like, I'll take less money, but just make sure you're giving that money you're saving on me and getting the right guys in here. Let me be GM. Like, that's what I could see happening. To me, McDavid is not about, I want to be the highest paid player in the game.
I don't think so either.
I want to win the effing Stanley Cup every year. You saw it in that Amazon Prime, from the 2 years.
Stanley Cup!
Like, he wants to win the Stanley Cup. And if he doesn't think that his best chance to do it is in Edmonton, he will go elsewhere. Chicago sounds like a great place.
Yeah,
to
that's
go.
fine. I just don't know. I mean, look, you're looking at Edmonton. Draisaitl's locked up long term. They've got good players all around him. I don't know where he goes unless he's going to Florida or something, which isn't going to happen. Where he's going to go, where he's going to have a better chance to win in Edmonton. They've gotten to the Cup final 2 years in a row, lost in Game 7.
Yeah,
they're right there.
1-0 in Game
they're
7.
right there. Like it's not like, oh, I couldn't possibly win here. And let's be honest, he's not been awesome in the Cup finals.
No,
he has not taken a series by the nuts and won it for the Oilers. And
that's because the Panthers won't let him.
That's true.
That's got more to do with the Panthers and less to do with
the I'm not trying to take anything. I'm not trying to. I do think he is. I have seen Gretzky, Lemieux, and McDavid play.
He's right up.
The guy that's impressed me the most in person is Lemieux because of the size and the vision and everything. But he is firmly in that conversation. I've seen Jágr play too. Like McDavid is right there with those guys. So I'm not saying like he hasn't done enough and he needs to be better, but a guy of that level should be the kind of guy in a Cup final that should not be able to be defended. And I think that he's sort of talked about this before too. Like, oh, this year I want to be more of a playmaker. Oh, this year I'm going to be more of a goal scorer. Do both.
Yeah, he can.
It's okay. It's okay to have 60 goals and 120 assists.
You can do it.
That's cool. That's a lot. You don't have to pick one of the two. So anyway, I think it's going to get done in Edmonton. I think it has to. You cannot.
No.
If it gets screwed up down the road and Edmonton never wins a cup, you don't want it to be because you let Connor McDavid go.
You don't want to see Connor McDavid hoisting a Stanley, 3 Stanley Cups in a row for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah.
Or Dallas Stars or whatever.
Unless
team.
it's the Blackhawks.
Whatever. Well, he wouldn't come here because it's state income tax. Don't you
That's
pay
right.
attention?
No one comes here.
No, you
That's
can't
right.
come here.
Good point. All right, let's get one more in before we wrap things up. This from Matrim Ibarra. Hope I said that right. Would you rather see on the fourth line to open the season Toninato? I struggle with that name so much because there's too many consonants. Lafferty.
I don't think you have to worry about
Slaggert.
pronouncing that name there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Or Slaggert, Moore, and Doc. Oh, option B, 100%.
Yeah.
Give me all the kids
Yeah.
on the ice.
For sure. I like that. Yeah. I don't need a lot of Sam Lafferty this year.
We were talking about this the other day, and I know you heard it.
Oh yeah, totally listen.
I feel like Lafferty's going to be the early in the season guy, for the first.
Yeah.
And then I did predict that Oliver Moore will make it the team. If he doesn't, I think he's going to have the Nazar treatment, and he'll play, 15-20 in Rockford, and then they'll call him up, and then Sam Lafferty will be your 13th forward.
Lafferty's the guy that you can scratch when you need to because A, he gets it, and B, who cares if he doesn't?
Yeah.
And
you're trading him at the deadline.
That's the guy you want to come out, score a couple shorties, throw a couple big checks, and then in March you go, hey, we gave up a 5th for him. Let's get a 4th for him, and you win.
You win the trade.
A 5th for
exactly.
a 4th.
Yeah. Filled the roster spot. Yeah. Got a trade. But the thing that gives me this optimism about Moore making the team is even if he's not producing on the score sheet, he's going to bring a lot that still helps the team, and he can kind of grow into his offense a little bit here. So I want to see, and I do, just like we need to kind of find out if Reichel is here, what the hell Lucas Reichel is. I think we need the same question answered about Colton Dock, because there have been times where you're like big forward, offensively skilled, plays physical, and then there's games where you say, did he play? Was he on the ice?
This is with every draft class that's come in, he's gotten further and further down. Like he's going to have a spot this year. But can we say that next year, if Boisvert is here and Vanacker is here and Frondell is here and Kancerov makes the way up, he needs to have a huge year, or he's going to be joining his brother in Montreal.
And I think for him,
I like Colton Dock.
Me too.
He's a good kid. I like what he brings, but you need to see more of it this year. If it's going to be a long-term thing.
He definitely fills a need, but that need is
he could be Kurashev'd real quick here.
Yeah, because you didn't mention Mason West either. First round pick, a few years away, of course, but there's your big power forward type when the team's ready to win.
Look at the last 2 draft classes and the size they've added.
Yeah.
They drafted those guys because they look at Colton Dock and go, yeah, probably not a long-term option.
Well, he's hurt all the time.
That too.
And it sucks for him, but it's true. All right, we're going to wrap things up.
You got 2 minutes left. You could do one more.
Oh. All right, let's do one more. Spike T says, I really don't feel excited about the upcoming hockey season. What's wrong with me?
Did you get hit in the head recently?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you could probably be have realistic expectations about what the Hawks are going to be.
He
which
said
is
hockey season, not
Yeah, he said
Blackhawks
hockey.
season. Like, be excited that hockey is back. Even
Yeah.
if you don't have great expectations for the Blackhawks, having hockey on your TV every night is a million times better than not having any hockey on your TV.
the winter companion is great. I'm very glad it's back. Can't wait till tomorrow.
I hate summer with a passion.
It's too long.
I
You know what I
hate
like?
summer.
June for the draft, July for free agency, and then you could just eliminate all the months in between. Because all I do is just wait for hockey to start. That's it.
And well, and when it's your job to come up with actual content, and there's nothing to talk about, it makes your job kind of struggle at times.
Right. All right. Not a struggle today. Fun show. Thanks to Sean Shapiro
And
for
Sean
joining
Anderson.
us.
All the Sean.
Sean
Wow.
Anderson, too.
Two
It's a very
Seans. Wow.
Shawnee show. Take advantage. If you have not gotten tickets to our takeovers, there's still some available for the suite on January 19th and for the season finale versus San Jose. Jump in, allchgo.com. Get those tickets. We'll talk to you tomorrow, too, on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all city like the mayor.